Okay, so question 8, as I say, the questions are jumping around a little bit. Question 8, that's on your sheet. A student investigated the rate of the reaction between magnesium and dilute hydrochloric acid. The student used the apparatus shown below to collect the gas produced. Okay, so magnesium dilute, okay, yep, so the gas is going to come up through there, it's going to go up here, it's going to push that way. I can sort of see what's going on there. Describe a plan to investigate how the rate of this reaction changed when the concentration of the hydrochloric acid was changed. Your plan should include, how would you make, so when it says should include, it means must include. So include for definite, how you would do the investigation, okay, and the measurements you would take, how you would make it a fair test. So fair test is all about control variables. What things would I control to keep everything else, so that only the thing I change, which in this case is the concentration of hydrochloric acid, that's what I'm going to change. The thing I'm going to measure, dV, the rate of the reaction, well, so the fair test bit is I can only change things, I can only change that and allow that to change. Everything else is going to be kept the same. So what things do I need to keep the same? Well, magnesium, I need the size, the mass, shape, everything else like that is going to have to stay the same. The acid, the volume and the temperature. Never say here keep the equipment the same, okay, rarely gets you a mark, but we're after at least 3 things to keep the same. Well, I've got the mass and shape of magnesium, I've got the volume and the temperature of the acid, okay, and we're going to change, don't say the strength of the acid because we're going to change that, that's our independent variable. How on earth am I going to measure the rate of reaction? So the rate of reaction is, it's always about time, how much reaction happens in a certain amount of time. So I'm going to need a stopwatch, and if I'm saying I'm going to measure the rate of reaction in a certain time, so if I say the rate is actually in 1 second, so I might say, well, I'm going to measure the reaction in 1 minute. So I'm going to keep time, so 1 minute. And what I could do there is measure how much gas is produced. And the gas produced is going to be related to, so the gas produced in 1 minute, okay, gives me, I can use that then to calculate the rate of that reaction. Okay, so 1 minute. Right, let's see how we'd go about answering this question then. So, how would we make the investigation and the measurements? So yeah, describe plan, all this stuff here. So 6 bullet points, what would we do? Well, the first thing is we would set up equipment as per diagram. Okay, that's the first thing. What's the next thing we'd do? We would measure. Let's say 100 mil. Doesn't really matter how much. 100 millilitres or centimetres cubed, doesn't matter which one you use. 100 millilitres of low concentration, because remember we're changing the concentration, of low concentration, H, is HCl, isn't it? HCl, yeah, HCl, so acid. I could even write just acid there if I wanted to. Measure 100 millilitres low concentration acid. What am I going to use? Using a measuring cylinder, as it's more accurate. Next, I could pour into, what's it? They've got a conical flask. Pour into conical flask and add 1 centimetre length of magnesium strip. Okay, so I'm making sure here I'm giving that's the length. I've said I want to keep the length the same. I said I want to keep the volume of the acid the same. Okay, so I'm making sure I add these in as I go. I'm going to then put bung in, and record how much gas is released in 1 minute. Okay, so there's my 1 minute. I said about I'm keeping the time the same. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to so calculate rate by dividing volume of gas by 60 seconds. Okay, that's what I'm going to do to get the volume of gas. I'm then going to repeat experiment. That's going to give me my the rate. Repeat experiment for medium and high concentrations of acid. Now, what I haven't done is I haven't talked about the temperature, and that's really important. So I know I hadn't put it in. I'm thinking, well, it doesn't really matter. I can always add that. So make sure temperature of acid is kept the same. Okay, and I could add there, why bother? So with what? Well, it's a tricky one there to say with what, but why bother? This is another control variable. Okay, if you want to say there to keep test fair as well, to keep test fair. So control variables keep the test fair. Right, that's an easy, so I've made sure, an easy 6 marks. So temperature of acid is kept same, temperature the same. I've said I've repeated, there's my DV, so repeat for medium and high. This is the, sorry, my IV, this is the thing I'm changing. Calculate rate by dividing volume of gas by 60 seconds. That's my dependent variable thing I'm measuring. Okay. I possibly could have condensed those first 3 into a slightly shorter bullet points, but that's fine. Certainly 6 marks for that question. Okay, I hope that helped.